Hi, my name is Robert Tom. I'm an engineer at FortiNet. Deception technology is one of my favorite tools for early breach detection. I've recorded a bunch of demos on it, specifically on how to detect and mitigate ransomware attacks, also how to customize decoys to make it fit into any infrastructure. This demo is about something else. This is about the integration between deception and sandbox technology. When a hacker has initial access to some endpoint in your network, typically the hacker needs to move laterally. Typically the hacker would want to use software to do the next steps of whatever the attack is that is happening. So what we do with our deception technology is not just create an alert whenever there's traffic towards a decoy, but also we analyze that traffic that's going towards a decoy. So first of all, if you look at the Deceptor, which is on my screen here, you can see that the Deceptor gets information from FortiGuard just like any other device coming out of Fortinet. So there's information about antivirus, there's information about network attacks, there's some specific information about reconnaissance activities and exploit activities. So that's all onboarded onto the FortiDeceptor. However, there's also an integration possibility between Deceptor and Sandbox, and it's as simple as what you see here. So this is all the configuration you need. So what we can do with this is once we see that there's software transferred to a decoy, then we can analyze that software in a sandbox to get a really accurate picture of what that software actually does. So that's exactly what I want to demonstrate in this brief little demo. So to do that, I've deployed a bunch of decoys. So one of the decoys I've just deployed is a file server. And this file server has an IP address 60.111 at the end. Part of my demo is a sandbox. So you just saw the integration between the sandbox and the FortiDeceptor. I've cleaned out the sandbox so that there's no statistics of prior analysis work. So everything is zeroed out. The same, just hopping back to the Deceptor, goes for the Deceptor. So if I look at the incident analysis, this is completely empty, so we can follow exactly what's happening. Lastly, I also have a FortiGate, and my sandbox is integrated into my FortiGate as well. So if I look at the information here, I can see that my sandbox and FortiGate are connected, and the malware database version that's coming from the sandbox to the FortiGate is of version 4.100. Keep that in mind because it will come back later. I have a Windows host. So this would be the endpoint a hacker has initial access to. And let's have a look at this Windows host. PowerShell IP config. So this is 60.11. My decoy was 60.111. So let's see if I have connectivity. I do. What I've also pre-configured is a mapping to my decoy. This is something that you can do as part of a deployment, but what you can see here is I have a file share mapping to one of the file shares on my decoy. What I'll be doing is transferring one of the files that is actually malware to my decoy. This file here, this is actually ransomware. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do this in this stage, but pretend this is some sort of method to gain persistent access to that host I'm trying to transfer this file to, which is a common scenario. If I open up my drive on my decoy, all I now have to do to trigger this process is just move it over. Let's copy it into one of the folders here, and let's hop back to the FortiDeceptor to see what's happening. And what you can see here is that the FortiDeceptor has spotted activity. It has spotted that this is coming from attacker IP 60.11, which is the one I was consoled into, and the victim IP, that is in fact the decoy I showed earlier. I can see in the activity on the timeline what exactly has happened. So there's all sorts of file shares being opened, but also what I see here is that I've uploaded this executable, which is the ransomware sample. This is in fact WannaCry. You see the AV scan result. the one that is done with FortiGuard threat intel, already has seen WannaCry, because this is well-known malware. But what you can also see here is that the malware has been submitted to the FortiSandbox for scanning. So let's hop over to the FortiSandbox and see what's happening here. And as you can see here, there has been a file submitted, and this file has already been scanned. And the diagnosis is this is malicious. If I click on it, I can get a bit more details, like what you can do with all sorts of other payload or URLs that you want to have scanned in a sandbox. And if I go to the detailed view, you have a chronological view as to what exactly has happened. And along with it, you get the indicators. So these are all the indicators that we use to determine what exactly it is. We can plot it on the MITRE ATT&CK framework to see what stage we're in. I can see a list of the file operations, of the registry operations, and so forth. So this information is purely done because the sandbox has analyzed this file based on behavior. Now let's move back to FortiDeceptor and see what FortiDeceptor has received back from the sandbox. So as you can see here, by now the FortiSandbox result is in, and the diagnosis is this is in fact malicious. And it's taken less than a minute to figure that out and have the full picture of exactly what it does. I can download a PDF, and if I drag the PDF into the screen, you can see the same detailed report of all the information I've shown on the sandbox. So all the indicators, all the file actions, plotting it to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, and the list goes on. I believe it also includes a bunch of screenshots of what exactly has transpired, like so. Now, the Deceptor is updated with this information, but the FortiSandbox, if I look at the FortiSandbox, has now updated its malware package. So the malware package right here, version 4.101, contains an update, and that update would be the malware sample I've just uploaded through the FortiDeceptor. This information is subsequently distributed across the rest of your security fabric. So if I now go from the sandbox to my FortiGate, because I have integration between all my components here, you can also see that my FortiGate has been upgraded to a newer version of malware. So if this payload now needs to traverse a firewall, even though it might have been unknown to the world, right now we'll catch it because the sandbox has updated my firewall. If you were to have other Fortinet devices and some other third-party devices, those would be subsequently updated as well. If you have hundreds of firewalls, endpoints, thousands of endpoints maybe, they would get this information in real time. So this threat intel, this is absolutely critical, and one of the reasons why deception is such a powerful technology, not just for early detection, but also for threat intelligence gathering and threat hunting. Thank you for watching.